What is one of the things that you think is very impractical that your parents tell you they never used to do, but they see you doing now?
What my dad will listen to is not what I'd listen to.
What you'd listen to.
What my mom would listen to, I feel like I can listen to what my mom listens to.
What your mother listens to, you can resonate with that.
Yeah, I feel like I can resonate with that.
They are jeans. Jeans trousers that you can put on and you're wondering, where did I even get this? Yet it is a trouser.
At times we make it sound like they've done absolutely, but they've done an amazing job. It's just that the few things that they've not done, the Omebant big time.
Oh, they noted that. I want to understand what you guys find very interesting about the kind of punishments that your parents want to administer and how you feel you would do it differently. Welcome to this week's episode of Life Chat. I haven't seen you for a while, so I don't know how you have been, but I hope that you have started your week on a right footing. Now, welcome to this week's episode, and today we are about to talk about something really interesting. But before we get into that, I'd just like to remind you that we are hosted by Asiana Gardens, that is right next to Sitam Rongai, and it's such a wonderful place if you want to have a family meetup, if you want to have a family outing, and if you also want to come and just hold small celebrations, but MOH guidelines are also followed through. Make sure that you would be able to look at the information right at your TV so that you can be able to make a point of visiting this place. Now, right to what I was talking about. So today we are about to talk about something very interesting. And it is something related to, well, every once in a while, there's always this statement that never escapes our parents' lips. And that is, in our days, we never did this, or in our days, this was unheard of. So today, that is basically what we want to understand. We want to understand this thing that is called a generational gap, where there seems to be a no point of meeting with parents, the adolescents, and even the youth. So to be able to help us understand this generational gap issue that we are facing right now, I have with me guests who will be able to talk with us and have a chat on generational gaps. We'll probably start from there. Tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do.
My name is Timothy Kingori. I'm currently a student at Kenyatta University. Hopefully, I'm finishing my school this year. Hopefully. That's what I'm doing currently, school. Yeah, yes.
Amazing. Nice to have you on Life Chat, Timo.
Thank you. My name is Benson Wendo. I am a pastor serving with the Sitam Valley Road within the youth ministry. But I think over and above that, I am a husband, a full-time husband, and a father. And I thank God for the opportunity that we may just share what is put in our hearts.
It is nice to have you on Life Chat today, Pasi.
Karibu sana. Thank you, Hope.
I am Nempiris Thanengwesi. I work with Artville Studios. What do I do? You said, right? Okay. What other question was that? Where I'm from? Yeah. Kenya. Kenya, Nairobi. Yeah, but I also serve with ICC Imara.
It is nice to have you, Nempiris.
Oh,
and
you.
It's such a wonderful combination of names. Is it that you don't have an English name or...
Yeah, actually, I do have an English name, but it's not legit. It's not in my birth certificate and it's not in my ID as well. Yeah.
But it's a beautiful name.
Oh, thank
and
you.
We are glad to have you on Live Chat. So we will get right into it. And I'll probably just want to understand. Now, what is one of the things that you think is very impractical, Timo, that your parents tell you they never used to do, but they see you doing now?
I think let me call it lifestyle. How, how they at times don't understand you can just switch on a TV, stay there for watch your series peacefully, at ease, with no pressure of life, huh? Then they're like, back in my days, umeamka umekamua ng'ombe, umeenda shamba, you've done all this. And all this, they're barefoot. You know, in no,
No
story.
parents had shoes.
Yeah.
None of our parents had
Yeah.
shoes.
Yeah, so I think it's that how we take leisure, how we take time off, and how they took time off are so far apart. At times they don't understand. You can just sit and watch something like that. A plate I found there when I left you in the morning is still there because you're watching. Okay, it's all right. Yes.
I understand that, and I think most of us do relate with that. I think my mom is watching this and she's like, she's nodding. Some of the things she tells me, and I'm thinking, you know, when she's talking to me and she's telling me, do you know, in our times we used to go for water and firewood. I know she's watching right now. Water and firewood, and I am thinking, Mom, we have a tap and a gas cooker here.
Very true.
So really, where do we meet in this conversation? You know, before I go to you, Pasi, Nempiris, what is one thing that you'd say is very impractical?
I think I'll first off agree with what Mama said, because like you cannot just sit down without doing anything. Like, why are you not busy? Like, why are you not busy? Why are you just free? How are you free? Like, you should have something to do. So why are you in your bedroom? Why? Why are you sleeping mchana? Like, that is just unheard of. So just to get to understand that, imagine you can take time off. There is something called leisure time. There is hobbies. There's all that. Apart from kuamka, kuosha vyombo, to do all these things. And you can just chill, you know. There's also beauty in just having that quiet time and just relaxing. And I think for them, it is more of you should be after this, after this. Very impractical, honestly, if I'm honest. Very impractical, yeah.
Now, I know, Pasi, you're listening to this and you're wondering, no, before we even get to the question itself, I just want to ask you, Pasi, did you have shoes growing up? Because every single parent seems to, it's like they never had shoes.
I think it is an issue of context. Because even to date, there are people that are growing up without shoes. So it boils back to where did you grow up? And what was the environment and what were the privileges that were available to you. So that determines the life you live, the activities you engage in, and the things you do as a routine. So personally, not so long ago, I remember the first time I put on my first shoe.
We were waiting for that to come.
I remember, but I wouldn't say it is because of the times that I was living in, but it's because of the state, the family state that we were living in. Simply, we could not just afford the luxury of putting on a shoe. In fact, even in my primary school, it was a requirement that you go to school barefooted. Even if you're privileged to have one, just to bring everybody at some leveling ground. So it was uniform. It was uniform. But it worked for some of us because we didn't have it. It doesn't mean that people were not wearing shoes in my neighborhood. There are those that could afford a pair of shoes. Yes, so I think those are the factors that are playing in, that the environment that you grew up in will also determine how you do a few things. If the environment in the city is totally different from the environment in the village, I have tested the two, probably in equal measure. And they are the pros and the cons of both. The things that this side will give unto you, but there are things that it will also take away from you. So I think it's an issue of balance. It is an issue of balance and intentionality from an individual. Just because coming even to the whole aspect of what do I do with myself? In a different setups will offer different things. So you'll find that there's a place whereby your life is extremely busy. Not because you like work, but because environment is defining that you do it that way. But finally, it ends up contributing something in you positively. So in the social status, the place you are raised up, the things around you would quite a bit define how you respond to some of these things. So probably maybe, but it is an issue of balance. It's really an issue of balance. And so that, because both excesses are extremely wrong. Both excesses are extremely wrong. That even if we borrow from the Bible, which informs us, our thinking and everything about us, there's a way it encourages us to live, and it allows time for rest, but it also encourages work. So it's an issue of balance. It's an issue of balance.
It's an issue of balance. But now, Pasi, I will want you to be able to expound on that once we come after the break. But right now, we are going to take a short breather. But remember to just take a look at Asiana and come and bring your family, come and hold your small celebrations and gathering and come and enjoy a beautiful ambience here at Asiana Gardens, right next to Sita Mrongai. See you after the break. Welcome back. If you're just joining us today, we are talking about the generational gap. Why is it that it seems like parents, adolescents, and youth just cannot come to an understanding? There's always a state of tension and war in the house. Now, Pasi, as we left, you were talking about something to do with experiences from then, and you know how circumstances then had led our parents to constantly be forced to be busy, in a state of being busy, but that they cannot wrap their minds around us, not really having something to do right now. But then, Pasi, honestly, at that time, I'm thinking that there were chores like waking up, milking cows, you know, going to get firewood, and then, you know, fetching water from wells. My mom tells me they used to walk kilometers to go and get water. But right now, water is tapped into the house, yeah? And then we are not milking any cows, we're actually going to get packeted milk. So really, what is this thing that you want us to be doing so that we are not seated down? You know, what is it that you want us to be doing?
You see, let me speak for them. Because if you look at the whole concept of the things they used to do, and if you look at the concept now, apart from the work, there were some what I'd call valuable lessons that probably would have contributed to a number of things. If you look at the different generations, and probably maybe we'll be looking at that a little later. But if you look at the level of resilience, the commitment, you know, the staying power, that particular inner strength and ability was actually, looks like was developed through some of this. That's actually something that has been scientifically researched.
Oh, now we're being hit with statistics.
Yes, it's actually been scientifically researched. And there's a general assumption, and I think that is also that some of those people that were exposed to such types and kinds of lifestyles, in a way, they make better leaders. You will do your research.
I definitely have to look that up.
But you see, the concept here is not that hope to carry a jembe and go to the shamba. The concept here is you engage your life meaningfully at every stage of life. So let's pick an example that is, I mean, commonly argued in every home. Watching television. This cuts across.
You have hit the nail right on the head.
Yes, we pick it up there. And if we were to sum around here, everybody will have their favorite program, something they love watching. And they can actually spend a whole day watching maybe a series or something that they will. And you know the way some of those programs are designed, they always leave you in a suspense.
Wanting to know what is ahead.
Wanting to know more.
So you're always constantly pressing next.
Pressing next.
Next episode.
Pressing next. And the series, you know, they also produce them, you know, in intervals. They don't produce the whole thing. So you get to watch and you're looking forward to next week when you know the next episode would come out. Lives in form of suspense. But the truth of the matter is, the people we watch are making money. True or false?
That just reminds me of something that my mom likes to quote in the house every single time, and she's like, hawa wenye munaona hapa walisoma kitambo wakafanya kazi na wakalipwa. Sasa wewe kosa kufanya homework yako. And I'm thinking, you know, mom, really? But anyway, yes, Pasi.
But I think we will be in some general agreement that to the actor, it is business. So to the consumer, it is entertainment. But to the actor, it is business. The question is, it is not to negate the aspect of a bit of entertainment in life. There is necessity for that. But when it is in excess, you actually realize that it becomes addictive. You always living in suspense. You're always looking forward to spend another extra 100 shillings to buy the next series. It draws out of you. It doesn't bring
It doesn't
much
add on to you.
So it draws out of you. So you realize that with time, you consume your time, you consume your money, you consume your resources, you get health issues, if you look at it from that particular angle. So the question is, can I just have what I need? You know, even the Bible says that a little, speaking on exercise matters, just a little of that physical exercise is good for the body, just a bit of it. So could we have, if self-discipline, whereby somebody is saying that I can just keep myself posted, I can watch maybe this, I only need like maybe 2 hours in a week or something, just something, so that we invest the other time meaningfully. The question here is, what are you gaining from what you're consuming? Do you need a 1 week of entertainment, or do you need a 2 hour of it? It's an issue of balance. It's an issue. Even our parents that are telling us this, they have their very own ways of entertaining themselves. But I'm not sure if they love watching news, they'll watch news from 8 to 8.
Well, news is not that entertaining in my defense, in our defense.
There are those that enjoy news, but there is moderation.
There's moderation.
Because there's work to be done, and there's also this other bit of life to be done. So just putting everything with some moderation.
So the fight then is not about what we are doing, but the fight is the amount of time we are investing in what we are doing. Because sometimes it tends to feel like ni kama wanataka mpaka tuoshe mabati. But
Yes.
We will not dwell on that too much. I think we have reached a point of agreement. I could see them nodding their heads, you know?
Just one more thing, because you're provoking something here. And because I tend to think we do not have the shambas today. We do not have the rivers where we're going to fetch water, the forest where we're going to pick or fetch that firewood. But probably there's a car in the parking lot that needs to be cleaned. The same parent is hiring somebody to come and clean the dishes, clean the clothes, do all that is cost. Sometimes I think maybe negotiating with the parents, saying that now instead of taking it to the car wash, can I get the 200 shillings so that I can buy myself an extra pair of shoes or something? You know, that is engaging meaningfully.
Meaningfully,
Yes.
I see your point. Now, guys, let's go and move on to something else. And that is something that I think is timeless, but seems to bring about a lot of mixed emotions, and that is music. Now, there's this kind of music that we like to listen to, but then if you're seated in the same room with a parent, they are giving you a very weird look and they're wondering, what are you listening to? What is this that you guys actually find you cannot be able to reconcile? You know, when it comes to music, our music, the difference between our music and theirs. I'll probably start with you, Nempiris.
What is their kind of music? Zilizopendwa?
Yes.
Well, I find it's a vibe for me as well. I like some of Zilizopendwa. But I think it's more, it draws down to the content. Because music really is very broad, like it's a wide range. There's genres, there's contemporary, there's gospel, there's uplifting, there's also that just for entertainment purposes and whatnot. So I feel like for me personally, let me just take a look. What my dad will listen to is not what I'd listen to.
What you'd listen to.
What my mom would listen to. I feel like I can listen to what my mom listens to.
What your mother listens to. You
Yeah.
can resonate with that.
Yeah, I feel like I can resonate with that.
And Timo, let me ask you about hip hop. That is something our parents can never seem to understand. But to us, it's a vibe. You know, it's a vibe like you were saying. Yeah? Like for hip hop, really, do you see something that you can actually point your parent out and be like, now listen, this is actually content that you, dad, can listen to?
And we have had this debate with my mother, because for her, in her head, hip hop is how she grew up to know what hip hop was, and the hip hop I'm listening to, don't it. Plus, he's like, I can't hear what they're saying, so what am I listening to in the first place? Things like hip hop, reggae for my mother, Mungiki, Izon Zao, those are for those people. It's not for myself. And you see, and for people who are like me, who you wash dishes with a bit of music, it will bother her big time, because she's like, because I listen to maybe Zambian gospel, she's like, I can't understand what they are saying. No, I listen to some South African gospel, otakwa. I don't know what this is. So I think for me, my parents can't listen to what I listen to, and I can't listen to what they listen to, because I can listen to 10% of what they listen to, but apart from that, it's very hard to listen to what they listen to.
I like that. Now, Pasi, there's this new wave, let me call it a wave, that hit Kenya, of Gengetone. And everyone everywhere was singing Gengetone, especially amongst the young people. Now, what was your response to that kind of music? If it was to be played here right now, what would be your response to music like Gengetone?
Very tricky. But allow me to make a statement first that I think informs what I would say in response to any genre of music. My persuasion and personal, and I've also seen a bit of it in the scripture, is that behind every music, there is a spirit. There's something that propels that particular music. Music is a tool to communicate. Communicate what? A particular information. And that information is intended to accomplish a particular purpose. So I will not lean on the type and the kind of music. I will lean on the content and the spirit behind the music. That would be quite a bit of my, probably my consideration before I consume anything. Truth be told, even the languages that we do not understand, and Timo just said here that there's some music that when he listens to, the mother can't even understand. If we zero it down in our local context here in Kenya, for example, there's a chance that you go to church and you hear somebody singing a Meru song, for example. You don't even know a single word in Meru. But there's a way you flow with that song. We sing quite a bit of West African music here. And there's a way you flow with those words. And there's a way you feel like it is...
Something is ministering to
from
your
within,
spirit.
From within. So it is those words, the style is not of significance. But the content and the spirit behind it would actually minister or touch your soul. Let's pick an example. Just a quick one before I make my comment on Gengetone. Because there is this song that I think I've heard across generations. I've got my mind made up. Yes, and following Jesus, it picks. There's a way the song is done probably in different styles. The most common probably is the reggae style. My mother doesn't know a lot of English, but she loves the song.
But she loves that song.
She loves the song, and you'll find that generations would actually sing it. It will within a 10-year span, difference of 10 years. I mean, people still sing it and make sense out of it because the words are speaking something. There is a spirit that inspires the song, and there's a message. It brings it in. So the style is a taste. The same way you'll take, prepare, some beef. You like it when it is wet fry. You like it when it is, choma. You like it, but it is still beef. the content, the nutrient is basically the same. So that I think also probably will let you know my comment on
Gengetone. So according to you, Gengetone has a weird spirit that accompanies it and a message that we cannot quite put a finger on, that does it. So Gengetone to you is a no-go zone.
It is, you know, where it is like, don't come near me.
Do not come near me. Oh my goodness. Woe unto your son when he comes to you and he's listening to Gengetone. Now, something else that we never seem to also agree with our parents when it comes to our dressing. In the type of generation we're living in, I got to learn that I'm a Gen Z today, but we have different styles. There's a certain type of way that we are expected to dress, and then there's a certain type of way we want to dress. I don't know. What are your comments? What are your comments, Timo, on our kind of dressing and the kind of dressing that you think your mom wants you to, or your father wants you to dress in?
I think for the longest time, because I really love shorts, I find them flexible, I find they're very comfortable. But my parents had a big issue with shorts. They were like, it's not respectful, we had a whole discussion about wearing shorts. So I do believe they usually come from a good place. But then my issue usually, they never at times give you a chance to explain the reason behind, this is how I want to present myself. This is the most comfortable way I can be me without feeling a bit here and there. Even what I'm dressing today has taken a long time.
For you to be able to
For me to wear a slim fit jeans. The first time I bought this ring, I was given eyes. I was like, Me, I'm like, I like how it looks, full stop. There is no
meaning behind it, something you attach
it's just,
to it.
I like how it looks, full stop. And I like that it had a cross. That was the selling point for me. You see, and I think for them, I think dress code goes with, there's a meaning behind it. There's rebellion. I think for them most of the time it's, you're trying to rebel. But for me, I'm simply trying to be me and express me as best as I know how. I'm still trying to figure out who Timo is. Timo likes shorts, oh that's nice. Timo doesn't like tight, I actually don't like tight pants. That's not for me, that isn't for me. So yes, I do believe they come from a good place. It's just the how for me is the issue.
The how is the issue.
Yes.
Nampiris, would you agree with what he says, or you have something to add or to modify from what he says?
Yeah, I agree with what he says. Plus, now that's from a guy's perspective. From a lady's perspective, it becomes even more sensitive now, because as ladies, we treasure our bodies. And that is that for us, value is on your body. Ours seems to be the only temple. And for the guys, for the guys it's just the temple of God. It's just a body. That's why it's easy for a guy. It's easy for a guy to remove their shirts, run around, go everywhere. That's not where that's not where their value lies. But for us, it becomes more intimate. Your mother will sit you down and tell you, you know what, first of all, why don't wear jeans? You should wear long skirts, especially when you're going to church. Do not provoke fellow brothers. That is at the time like when you're starting to also just get to know yourself and you're seeing everybody else and your peers, people are wearing jeans and you want to wear jeans, not because you want to rebel, but you just like the style of it. So we had this conversation with my mom as well for a while. They were like, Mom, so me, I'm wearing this. Your trouser, it's too tight. It's like this. I'm like, surprisingly, my mom has bought into the idea. She's also wearing jeans nowadays. So it's not, I think it's just the value system. They had it also like that while they were being brought up by their mothers. Like, treasure your body. So treasuring their bodies meant wear long skirts, wear tops, jifunge kilemba kwa kichwa, or scarves or whatnot. Just, be modest. But for me, I feel like being my own person, I have dressed very decently. I am elegant in my own self. I am not provoking no man. I am just me. And I think for our parents to understand that. So it's a level of communication for me.
And the fact that your style might not generally be their kind of style.
Exactly.
Now, Pasi, what do you think is the most absurd thing about the fashion and the dressing of this millennial and Gen Z generation of dressing?
Well, I think I want to appreciate style. I would want to appreciate style.
I hope parents at home are noting some of these things that Percy is saying here.
Yeah, I would want to appreciate style, but I will also probably speak to, you know, the person listening, that in appreciating style, let's consider modesty and just being decent. Decent dressing and modest dressing. So, I think that's actually the biblical standard that we've been given. It is decent, it is modest. It is not explicit in any way. It is so, but appreciating style, because there is nothing absolutely wrong with having a different style, this and that. The jeans. You know, jeans trousers that you can put on, and you're wondering, where did I even get this? You know, yet it is a trouser. But they even those long, this is for the ladies, the long dresses that you put on and you realize, wow.
This really is nice.
This is really nice. So I think the issue is style and taste, but or rather done within the boundaries of modesty. So what guys, you know, there's a way, you know, there's a way somebody, before you leave the house, you're in a particular clothing and you just feel like, this one, I'm not so very comfortable in it. If the wearer is not comfortable, what do you think that the viewers, the people you're going to
the people that you are going to walk out and they're looking at you are thinking?
And wondering.
I think my standard of dressing is usually, if I was to meet Jesus right now, would I run back into the house to just try and cover myself up? Or would I, you know, just go and embrace Jesus and be like, yo, hi, Jesus, you know? So most of the times before I come out of the house, I ask myself that question. And if the answer is in the affirmative, I proceed. If it's not, I think I need to, in fact, do away with this kind of dressing. So I think at that point, we probably seem to understand each other and agree. But then when it comes to right now, we're actually seeing a trend in which young women, no, in fact, young men want to now get their hairs done, and they want to go and get manicures, some things that were conventionally known for feminine attributes. What are your thoughts on that, Percy? Because we have some friends who they're really genuinely, they're really masculine men, but they want to go every now and then to the spa, get their hair done, nails done. What is your general feeling on that?
I suspect that we share the same feeling. I really, you know, even with the passion that the question is coming, you know, because this is it. This is the deal. Somebody once helped me by telling me that dress the way you'd want to be addressed. Dress the way you'd want to. You do not want us to confuse you with, and you may not be that. And I have to admit that probably this brother, this young man, is born again, spirit-filled, going to heaven. But you see now, it is only God who looks at the inside. Man has a way of looking at the outside.
In fact, it's the first thing that we see.
It's the first thing, the first impression, the first. So I think toning that down a bit, even in the boundaries of style, you know, as you do your hair, toning it down a bit and just remaining in what is acceptable for males to do and what is acceptable for the females to do. Just the excesses that will make people confuse you with somebody or something else is what you may just want to avoid immediately.
Is what you may want to avoid.
Because there's already a controversy, or it is controversial. You may be well-meaning, but the person that is seeing you is seeing something else.
Is seeing something else.
Yes, there is what is acceptable within the society. General society, there's what they accept. There's what is acceptable.
There's what is
and
acceptable.
It is not hard to know.
Well, my question is then, doesn't this limit being able to express yourself and limiting creativity? Because some people are generally inclined to being artistic and they would want to express themselves in the wildest of ways, even if they're well-meaning. Now, just to be able to answer that same question that I have asked you, I would want to know the feelings of these two young people on the same subject. Are you okay with a young man who wants to get his hair done, who wants to get piercings on, and he also wants to get his nails done?
I think my issue with that will be, where exactly are you doing this? Because most of us argue this is me expressing me, but if you're to look at how you've been brought up, the culture you're in, that expression is of what you saw and not who you are. So you'd rather tell me I'm trying to explore and see how I look with hair, or how this looks, rather than tell me I look up to hip hop artists and this is what I see, and this is what I love to imitate, or this is the end goal. Rather than saying I'm trying to express myself, because I think that's where we clash with our parents most of the time, because they're like, this is not the boy I know. The boy I knew wouldn't go and put piercings or plait hair. I'm not saying, but I like what Pastor said. There are rooms you won't enter because simply you have piercings. There are rooms you won't enter, or there are opportunities you'll miss out, no matter how good you are in your field. But a person looked at you once,
and they already got an off
impression.
They
do conclusion. They said, this person 1, 2, 3, I can't. Because there is, and it's good to know the culture you're in. If the culture you're in advocates for a certain sense of style and appearance, why not go for that? Why not go for that?
Aha. Nempiris, your thoughts?
I think that most of us, our styles are informed by what we see and who influences us. So we'd go, if I like hip hop, I'm gonna go buy hippie clothes, like very baggy clothes. I just feel, hippie with it, because it goes with the mood, it goes with whatnot. So what informs our style is what we watch, what influences us. And so, as he said, like, really, it's not who we are. So I'd beg the question then it's more of find your identity. Where are you rooted in? Who is your identity? Because once you figure it out, I'd say personally for myself, my identity is Jesus. Therefore, as you said, you would ask and be like, so when I step out of this house today morning, is this how I want to be addressed? Is this how I want to people to perceive me as? So for me, my identity is rooted in one source. And that's where I'll go for reference every time, regardless of the trend, regardless of the what informs what. I'll always go to seek the source. So is this where it is? Because I might want to argue. I'm like, God, it looks so good. I want to wear. But again, is that how you want to be perceived? So for me, it's identity. Get rooted in where you, because most of these people, honestly, they do not know where. That's why they'll go paint their nails, and you're a guy. You'll go for a full manicure, pedicure, a spa moment, and I have never, and I am a girl. So it begs the question of where is your identity for me?
Can I add something small? And I think it's also a matter of esteem, because some people, because you don't have a sense of worth, or you don't fall in love with who you see in the mirror, you try something you saw that people admire, that people find attractive and appealing, and you copy-paste it to you so that you can get the same for you. So I think at times, self-reflection and see, is this an esteem issue, an identity issue, that I'm busy chasing this where in real sense, my issue is I'm not comfortable with how I look. The bare minimum. The bare minimum, when you wake up, this is me. Am I comfortable with this? Do I need to tweak a few things here and there?
But are we low-key saying that guys can't pamper themselves? Well, that's just a thought that came to my head. They can pamper themselves, but not in the form of nails. And
be hygienic. But come on.
Don't go to the extremist ends of wanting to paint your nails.
I would want to be the one going to the salon.
Not both of us, yeah? Booking an appointment. Now, let's move on to something, again, that's a bringer of issues between these warring parties. And that is our mode of communication, especially when it comes to conflict resolution. Sometimes you want to find someone who is so mad they storm out of the house. And this is something that the parent cannot wrap around their mind, because in their time you would not dare move. When your parent was speaking, you should be rooted to the ground. I want to understand what you guys find very interesting about the kind of punishments that your parents want to administer and how you feel you would do it differently.
I think one, I do believe discipline is good. is key in any upcoming or growing child. Discipline is key. Because when I look back, I'm grateful for in as much as I won't agree with some of the things I went through, I am grateful for the discipline I received. The only issue would be explain to me why. Because at times, umechapwa, it's honest, you don't know why umechapwa. You just know something went wrong and you're beaten. But what went wrong is
You have no idea.
You have no clue at all. You're just beaten. And also to listen to your children at times. Because at times, it's us looking for a way out. So we act it out. So while we're acting it out, oh no, now this kid, straight and narrow. This shenanigans we can't tolerate. Not in my house. If you're my child, this is not for us. In fact, my mother says, ECA too. This is not for us.
It's not for us, this one.
But discipline is key. It's just explain discipline to someone.
Explain
Tell them
disciplines.
I'm not, because there are times you'll feel like my parent hates me. Because I've been beaten at your life. There are miracles that have ended because of me. Yeah, so explain it, but also don't do it out of anger, do it out of love and the need for a child to grow in a certain manner.
And so that would be how you would also do it different.
I would have a specific, if they see this, they know this is beating time. Either a stick, a rod, something. They know. And
I
they
like
know,
how you put it. It's beating time. It's like it's something. It's not a minority.
And they know for this I get 5 strokes, for this I get 3 strokes, for this, and they understand this is the reason behind it. Because right now it's 20 bob. When you're older, you'll be caught, a tire will be thrown on you and be burnt. And I'm the one who's going to feel that pain because I'm the one who didn't take time to tell you, you need to work hard. You need to take time to appreciate God gave you your body so that, even Paul says, if you do not work, you should not eat. So I'm here instilling God's word. You should work hard. Stop stealing. Work hard. That's why I'm beating you. Work hard, yeah.
And I'm curious.
I'd work with what I understand now. So what I understand now as I have grown in those kuchapwa moments is that we both have responsibilities towards each other. As a parent, your responsibility is you're instructed in the word of God to teach me and discipline me in the ways of the Lord. As a child, I have the responsibility to honor and obey you. It's the only commandment that comes along with a promise. The only one. That I will obey you and I will honor you and then I will live long. So with that understanding in mind, at the time, in all honesty, I couldn't understand why we would share a communion beating as children because of one person's mistake. I did not wrap my head around that. But I know I will not allow you to do that mistake in front of me because I know I'll be beaten. So for me, I think for me, what I'd change is how I administer that. I have, sometimes parents can beat you out of anger. Maybe they're frustrated at work, something happened, they were mad. You just forgot your notebook at school. Now, Jafana assignment, that just ruins everything.
Called for World War III.
Yeah, I know you're beaten proper, you're beaten. So I think for me is just the point of being patient with a child, punish him for a reason. Like, this is your reason, and you will accept that this is your reason. And even if you do not accept, I know better, like, at that moment, because I appreciate, as he says, I appreciate the things, the discipline that they give me. Right now, I cannot do some things because they've instructed me in the ways of the Lord as they were beating me.
As they were beating you.
So I think for me, it's just the understanding that I have now makes me understand that they did it out of love. Even on the times that they fell short and beat me out of anger or with no mistake at all, but I just suffered because it's a communion beating. I like, right now, I understand, like, not to make those mistakes. So I think for me, that's what, in terms of lashing out on anger, I wouldn't do that. Yes.
Then it seems like you really suffered a lot on the communal beatings and really sorry to you.
I have a specific story, but...
No, you should share it. You should share it, and we would like to listen to it.
Dad and Mom, I'm not embarrassing you, but there's one specific time, actually, my dad was watching news, and me, I was busy in the house, chomaing my indi. I was so excited. I'm chomaing maize there. I was about to eat that maize. So Nimeanza kuchoma. My brother and my sister, I think they were fighting somewhere huko kwa room, like wrestling, so they were making a lot of noise. So immediately Mama Indi was over. I was like, wacha nieke hapa, let me just head out, niende bedroom, alafu nirudi. So when I fika the news, when I went to the bedroom where my brother and my sister were, that's when my dad came. It was like, mulikuwa mnapiga kelele. We were beaten. Niko ndani kwenda choma. No, I don't want to listen. I found you here. So I was beaten. I was like, God, like, why? So for a while, I was like, and then I went out, and my mom saw me, nikichoma mahindi, so my mom knew. But she just allowed that to happen. I was beaten my share, and then I went back, and then, anyway, hakufanya kitu. So my dad couldn't have said it, sorry. So, kaenda tu hivyo. So I think for me, I'll just try to, understand.
The final thing that you have said really caught my attention, that your father could not say sorry at that point. Percy.
Yes.
The kind of generation we have right now is very enlightened young people, children and young people who want to be explained for, like they were saying. They want to be told why this was a mistake and why they're being beaten and for what purpose it will serve. And they also want to be told sorry. Why is it so hard for parents to actually say sorry to their children, to these young people who want to hear the word sorry coming from their parents' lips?
Well, I mean, I don't fully understand because I think it's a case-to-case issue. Because I would also think that their families and parents that are also quite able to explain what they're doing and why they're doing it. And I think so is a different scenario, different approaches, different reasons. But I would think that on a very general note, if I was to speak to a parent, I am one, I'm just trying just to probably do the things in a better way than the way my father and my mother did them. But I would think that first, my persuasion is discipline or punishment and discipline probably are two different things. Discipline or explanation of why I am doing things is not an exemption from discipline. And punishment is not necessarily discipline. So, because I think it is from the word discipline that we end up getting the word disciple.
Disciples.
So this is a person that is able to pattern their lives after your life. So at the core of discipline is what I would call leading by example. That every parent, and not only to the parent, every youth, every teenager, to strive to lead by example, will actually have less issues when everybody is striving to lead by example. That when, because I think that is also what, is it chapter 5 or chapter 6 of Proverbs, when it says that mothers, or rather teach your children, fathers instruct, it is one and the same thing, but the idea there is lead them in the way, show them by example, show them how to do it. It doesn't mean that do not discipline. No, it means that show them the way, allow them do it. You know, you do it when they see, do it with them, allow them to do it alone, and make mistakes and just come and have conversations around these mistakes. It is not to say that do not discipline when something is done in the wrong way. But because I think every need of any human being, the parent, the child, and both of them put together is a relationship. They need a relationship. So that the punishment, as we may call it in this context, that should not withdraw the relationship, but should add into the relationship.
Add into the relationship.
So it is something done out of respect and love. That even as we discipline, and in this case, let me use the word disciple. but you know what I mean. That even as you pinch a bit, you view it as discipleship.
Wow.
So in that,
Wow, Pastor, spoken like a true parent. I am not beating you, I am beating the sin in you.
we view it from that. So that would mean that there's love in it and there is respect in it. There's a way you can beat up a child in a very disrespectful way, place, or manner. So there is love in it, and there is respect in it, and there is conversation. And the conversation is two-way. I think sometimes it will be good for the parent to travel back or travel into the son's, daughter's world and just try to imagine what is happening in their world. So that, compare it, there's nothing wrong with comparing it with their world or our world, but bridge the gap. Then in terms of, these are the circumstances around them. These were the circumstances around me. How the principles would remain. The principles of life will remain. So how do I introduce those particular principles in the circumstance
in this particular situation that we have? I like that approach. And I like what you have mentioned, Pasi, and it's actually what is leading up to the question as we wind up. And that is, then what can we do to bridge this gap, age-old gap of misunderstanding between parents and young people so that there's at least some peace in the household, that we are not always in a constant state of tension? What is this that you think we can be able to do to bridge the gap? I'll probably start with you, Thibault.
I think one thing I learned as I grew is our parents are not perfect, and they're simply trying to come from a place where this is how the system was. In fact, they're doing a better job if they compare it to how they grew up. So appreciating the fact that they are doing something. Other times we make it sound like they've done absolutely
nothing.
Yeah, no, but they've done an amazing job. It's just that the few things that they've not done, the Omebant big time.
Oh, they noted that.
But the second thing is to know that I usually tell people, your parents don't sit down and scheme how to hurt you. They are now planning, this is what we're going to do. No. It's accident. I tell people at times it's an accident. They didn't plan to do it. It just happened. And understanding that at times as a child is very hard, because growing up you have this perfect image of who daddy or mommy is. But the older you grow, the more you see, or even them, they have issues. Even them, they have frustrations of life.
And they're just as human.
And giving them room to be human in your own home. You know that there are times mom is a bit short-tempered. So let me let her cool down, then let's talk. No, giving them, extending grace, that's what I'll say, extending grace to our parents, but also listening to what they have to say. At times we disregard our parents, we disrespect them big time, because we're like, what is it they have to offer me? They don't know anything. But we forget, challenges are the same, the manifestations are just different. No. So them it was work ethic, but it was manifestations in different manners. Zao ilikuwa shamba yetu ni, you need to go to school, you need to wake up on time, you need to meet those deadlines, pap. But for them, it was farm duty. So it's giving your parents a listening ear. That at times you see people disregard their parents, you're like you're bringing curses in your own life by simply disrespecting your parent to that level of, there's nothing you can tell me. Mom, I'm 23. What is it you have to tell me that I don't know?
That I don't even know. And then in your times, things were different. What do you understand about the times now? I see that. Thank you so much. It's about conversation and extending grace. Thank you for that, team.
Well, first off, I'm really grateful for our parents. Honestly. Mine especially have done a very good job. Very good job. And I love them.
And I hope they're listening to this and they're hearing their daughter comment them on live television.
But yeah, they've done a very good job in raising us. Sometimes it's not easy to raise 5 different children with 5 different, you are sensitive, you are proud. Like so many things to balance with. At the same time, you have to show them that you love them equally. Show them that you are there for them so that this other one doesn't feel left out. So I think our parents are trying their very best to do their job. When it comes to difference, the gap that we're talking about, this gap that seems to never end, is just a difference in values, behaviors, attitude that they had before, and you have now with the generation that is in now. You're trying to bring them together, and merging those two together will be uncomfortable situations and all that. So I think for me, it's, as he was saying, communication, being patient with your parents to understand that this is the world now, this is what is happening. There's more efficiency when it comes to work. We have washing machines, you bought them, so we are using them.
I like
okay?
what you have mentioned.
We are using that washing machine. So there's more efficiency in working. So there's no need to go and fetch water and all this. So getting for them to understand that and marry that into, they also, because it helps them also grow, because you cannot limit growth. And for them, as they grow as well, even you yourself, they're giving you room to explore, as Percy says, to make your own mistakes, learn from them, since they're human beings as well. So my take on this is just to love my parents, obey them, honor them, because I'd also want my kids to do the same for me and to be patient with me and communicate with me. And yeah. So for me, it's just about communication and also looking at the source of how God created us and how he wanted, because God has no parent has a manual. They only learn from their parents. Like, my mom used to do this, I'll not do that to my kid. But God is the one who has the manual. He knows. So we ask just God how to continually, just because it's a daily basis journey of just relating with our parents and our parents relating with us. Yeah.
I like that. No parent comes with a manual. God is the only model of how perfect parenting should look like. And so parents should be able to learn to emulate from God. They might not be perfect at implementation, but we are grateful even for the steps and the milestones they make in our lives. Percy, as a parent. What do you think can be done to bridge the gap?
I think I want to speak from those two positions. I think what I learned from the Bible, because if I only speak of my little experience, because I don't have a lot of it as a parent, I may not quite answer your question. I look at it this way, and I think to the parent and to the young person. To the young person, I think I would just put this statement this way, that adulthood is responsibility. So, and we grow into it. So we should be making steady little progresses in our life. So we should be actually responsible at our very own level. So you take up your role, you play your part, you take it seriously, and you grow in it. If you're consuming your 3 hours behind the screen, you may want to reduce it. That is an aspect of growth. And you invest your time meaningfully. The one way of just bridging that particular aspect of, conflict. But on a very, very general note, that I think enhancing our communication systems, this is from the parent to the child, also from the child to the parent. Everybody would want to be heard. Everybody would want to be understood. The parent that is discipling, and the child that is being discipled, everybody would want to be heard, and they would want to be sure that the other party has actually heard them. So I think there's need of employing more than one communication strategy or channel. I know usually for the younger generation, it is much easier to send a WhatsApp message. And your parent may go online after 3 days. So I think, yes, you can send a message, you can make a call, but also appear physically and have a conversation. Father, son, father, daughter, mother, son, whatever. Have a physical conversation. Enhance, explain yourself, and do not wait until you're in trouble to begin a conversation.
To begin a conversation. It should be something that is continuous.
It's continuous. And talking about issues of life. Talking about them prior enough, and if this happens, how do we handle it? You have like conflict resolution mechanisms prior to before the conflict. Yes, so that you know that if I get here, this is what my parent, my mother, my father is expecting from me, and they also know your expectations both ways. So I think that is what I call growth towards responsibility. That you take up your part, they take up their part. But when something good happens, I think it will also help when the parent is able to own up and say that, here, I was wrong. It doesn't take anything from us. But I think the child also owning up and saying that, on this case, I was wrong.
The one on the wrong.
And do not finish there. Continue to say, please forgive me.
Wow.
Because being wrong, being apologetic and being sorry is, being wrong is one thing, but asking that please forgive me, because I acknowledge that through my action, I did offend you. So we actually sealing and mending up the gap so that we have a clean slate to stand on.
To start from.
So enhance your communication. Use more than one strategy. Make sure that it is influenced by respect and by love. Your mother, your father is not your enemy. Your son, your daughter is not your enemy. Just make sure that you're enriching that particular relationship and make it better.
I like that. Finally, we started on a war note. And now we are closing on a very peaceful note, and we are all laying down arms right now. So you guys mentioned some of the things that you think can be done to bridge the gap. Are those the things that you employed to be able to have a better understanding of your parents and for them to have a better understanding of you as we wind up?
I did employ that because I had to take time to pause and deconstruct the perfect image I had of both my mom and my dad and be like, okay, they also have certain flaws. They also have certain, life happens like it happens to me. So when they're all frustrated and I'm frustrated, we can't communicate. And also learning that things, you as a child, as you're the one who has to compromise. Because telling them to compromise, you're pushing it at times. Because there are things our parents, whether we like it or not, it won't make sense in their head.
At all.
At all. They'll be like...
We manage our expectations.
Yes. You manage expectations and be like, meet them halfway. And I think at times you're so entitled as Gen Z to be like, no, you come here. You're the parent, I'm the child. You're the one who's supposed to come to me. But at times, because it's family, and there's room for growth and there's room for love, make the first move. Work, make it. Yeah.
It doesn't matter who makes the first move, as long as at the end of the day we get the good results, and that is to be able to keep our families together and glued together. Nampiris?
For me, it's a constant journey, a daily basis journey, because different scenarios, different cases, different. So it's an everyday reminding yourself that respect your father, respect your mother, honor your father. Like that for me is a constant journey, because any relationship whatsoever, both of you need to be in it for it to work. So I've seen so many families broken, and a child saying, I cannot forgive my dad, I cannot forgive my mom. It's because they did not take time within themselves to find out, or just find out within themselves, not even looking at the other person's fault, within themselves. Am I obeying my parent? Could he just be like this because I'm very quick to defend myself when he asks me to do something? So for me, it's a constant daily journey. There are times that I will forget and I will find myself just saying something that is very offensive, like, hold up, Mom, I'm sorry. And then you continue, because you need to acknowledge what you've done. So I think for me, it's a constant journey. And for me, it has worked. And it's working.
And it's still working.
It's still working.
You can be able to put the progress. I like that. So guys, as we finish, as young people, let us learn to extend grace to our parents and to remember that they're just as human as we are, going through different experiences, sometimes mood swings, but it's good for us to also be able to meet them halfway and to remember to always honor our parents, regardless of the situation. And for parents, I have read a quote somewhere that says that parents will let you do anything apart from you being yourself. Parents, it's also remembering that you're raising individuals and other people who will grow up to be human beings. So it is good, just as Percy said, to lead and to disciple every once in a while, but also disciple in moderation. This has been Life Chat with your host, Hope Nyokabi. Remember to check out Asiana Gardens that is right next to Sitam Rongai. Until next time, have a blessed week. Bye-bye.